KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, class.
Oh, hi.
We are back. Let's do a quick roll call. Brian Zepp.
Here.
Okay, great. Tony, did you make it?
Presente.
Candace.
Hello.
Hello. That's it. We're 4 for 4.
Nice.
I was not willing to bet much that we would all be back today.
Well, I know Tony was suffering, man. I can hear it in you a little bit. I
Sorry.
thought, you're being a hero today, man. I can dig it.
Yeah, I am.
Tony Lee.
That kind of
Tony
guy.
Lee, a man barely alive, as they say. But we have the technology, and we can rebuild him, for God's sakes.
I know. Well, everybody's gotten. Have you guys? I spent Christmas Day barfing myself inside out. Otherwise, pretty good break. I mean, that's it. That's all I did all day long. It was.
Is that?
Wow.
Did you just come up with that, barfing myself inside out? I've never heard that expression before.
I had an 8-hour drive back from Sedona in the cargo space of our SUV to come up with that.
Yeah.
Making her stop every once in a while.
That's
She
a
always
good
stopped
one.
In the most public places too. I'm like, all right, let everybody just take a look. Here we go. This is stomach bile. That's what dry heaving looks like along the side of the road.
Oh, there's just nothing quite like it. Well, nothing says Merry Christmas quite like showing all of your bodily fluids to strangers on the highway.
Yeah, right.
That's fantastic.
Well, luckily we had just enough time off that I was able to sneak in a little fun anyway.
So you were sick Christmas Day. Tony,
Yeah.
you're sick as a dog right now on the 1 year anniversary of the KQ Morning Show with me sitting in this chair.
That's right.
This all started a year ago. Well, it was technically the 9th, but this Monday, the second Monday of the year. So I'm feeling pretty special right now. I'm feeling really glad and very thankful when I look back and go, holy crap, this has been going on for a year now. This is pretty great. I went through, now I had a couple things flare up in November and December with sicknesses, but man, I had a really lovely, perfectly healthy holiday break. Candace, anything you need to share? Was there projectile vomiting involved with you at all?
No, not really. Just the typical allergies. I feel like a lot of men in my life are sick right now, so I don't know what that means. But
And you're allergic to sick men? What is the allergy?
I just, it's dry, and I get a little sneezy and congested.
Sure. Okay. New Year's Eve. Anybody blow it out? I'll just go ahead and let you know. Sound asleep by 11:30, as per usual. That's my standard. It's been years since I did anything outside the home on New Year's Eve, and I'm about 50% for making it to midnight, and this was not one of those times.
I think this is the first time in a few years I did, but I was hanging with the youngins, with the kid and her boyfriend.
Nice.
And they kept me out. But I did sneak about a 3-hour nap in earlier in the day. But
Attaboy.
just made it to midnight. But nothing too crazy. Just, at their place, eating a lot of food, a little bit of this, some of that.
Tony,
I was on the beach in Mexico at midnight with the family after a gigantic fancy buffet and cool fireworks. Very, very fantastico.
So this sickness is just payback for all of the greatness.
It did. It hit me then.
Does the word worm come into mind when you think about what may have rendered you so obsolete right now?
No, I drank the good stuff.
Attaboy. Candace, what was your New Year's Eve? What happened?
I worked at Acme. That was really fun. And then went out a little bit and then just went over to my friend's house and we played music video roulette all night, which is where everyone can take a chance to pick a music video to listen to. And then we were up pretty late doing that. It's kind of lame.
Fair enough. All right. That's great.
How about yourself there, big guy?
Well, no, nothing. I mean, just got, like I said, didn't even see midnight. I was out early. The only drama for my entire family was our son Connell, who's he's 23. He went to a big shishi bash for New Year's Eve and was thrown out by security at like 12:20 for getting into a mouthing off. He honestly doesn't quite remember exactly what happened. All he knows is, I dropped he and a buddy off at like 10:30 at this very, very upscale event that they'd somehow wrangled passes to. And then at about 12:30, he texted and said, in an Uber, And I thought, that's weird that he would tell me he's in an Uber. That's weird that it's 12:30 and he's already in an Uber. And then he came in, and I literally didn't get anything out of him till the next day. He was just that drunk. Wow. But that's called living life. He was having a great time. He you know what? He took the hit and had the hangover for the whole family. So that was pretty decent of him to do.
Oh, boy, yeah.
He got to say his piece, too.
Yeah.
Apparently. Not that he has any idea what happened.
Yeah, wait a second. Now, we haven't talked since the break, but we were sharing some text and that sort of jive. And Tony, attacked by El Chupacabra, was that it? I think Steve called it. What the hell was going on down there? You got to explain this to us.
There's these critters in Mexico called a cotilla, and it's kind of a combination of a lemur, a raccoon, and just a son of a bitch. And they run in
I had
packs.
an uncle that we used to say he's like a lemur and a raccoon cross, and I can't stand that son of a bitch. Yeah, Uncle Henry, he was nuts.
Yeah, they just roam freely there like squirrels. And we were just coming back from the beach with a little snacky, and they just gather in like a pack, and one of them took a swipe at old Antonio's hand, and I got scarred by a cotilla. Kind of cool, actually.
Okay, wait, hold on. How big is this thing? You sent a photo, and I couldn't tell if it was 10 pounds or 70 pounds.
They look like, I don't know, 15, 20. They're good, like raccoon size. They can get pretty big.
And they're just looking for people with food in their hands.
Yeah, and they're kind of cute, and people
you got
come up
sick
to them.
after this?
No.
Yeah,
what
a
the
shot in the
heck?
stomach with a needle.
Hold on.
I did worry about that, and I got laughed at hysterically. I was worried
Has there
about
been
rabies.
Has there been a full moon since this attack?
That was weird.
That's really weird. I don't like the idea of being attacked by an animal I've never heard of.
Right.
I mean, if a rattlesnake gets me, or if a Bengal tiger gets me, at least I'm not thinking, what the hell was that? I'm going,
Right.
I might be thinking, why did I put myself in this situation? But the confusion over an animal you've up to this point never heard of, that's what would stick with me in my final breath.
Right, didn't even know they existed.
Yeah, no, you sent a photo of one. I've not ever seen one before.
No.
Yeah. Okay, well, nothing to worry about. I'm sure you'll be fine.
I actually Googled it, and then I didn't even read it. Now I'm just remembering, but I did see that it is in fact a diurnal an animal, so you don't have to worry about it getting you at night. At least there's that. It's just open during. It's like a mongoose. You know what I mean? They're just open. You know, they're not. You're not going to see a mongoose at night. That's a daytime activity when they're out keeping us clear of cobras. So mongoose are my favorites.
And don't be walking around with a cheeseburger in your hand in Mexico. I'm going to put that one on my warm weather vacation. Things not to do.
There was a thought. There was a real close on New Year's Eve to going to that Vikings Packers game. Yeah. It was touch and go, and then I ultimately made the decision not to take it in, which I'm pleased about. And we're going to discuss the end of the Vikings season and the playoff picture with Robert Smith at 9:00. Of course, we'll bring on the Vicon for the last time of the season. But any quick? Is there anything even really to say? Just a brief synopsis other than, hey, man, 24 is looking pretty good for the Vikings because, boy, 23 was just an absolute – it was like a house of mirrors, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, they're taking on water. The ship's taking on water. They've got her back into dock now, and they've got less than a year to, get this thing seaworthy. But you got to, square away the quarterback situation, number one. After that, you've got a pretty good team. And then I'm guessing you're going to have to pick out a defensive coordinator and some of that stuff and shuffle the deck. And
there's
where we at in the draft, middle of the pack for the draft, maybe.
There's a bunch of head coaches about to lose jobs, and that means Brian Flores' phone is just ringing off the hook all day long, sadly enough. But, for boy, a year ago, we were sitting here getting ready for a playoff game against the Giants saying, if the defense can just somehow, not be the worst thing in the world, maybe they get a playoff win. This year, defense was pretty darn good, better throughout the season. But what an absolute and you can't. I mean, with the injuries they dealt with, and with the fact that the offensive line towards the end of the season was basically the KQ morning show plus an Uber driver from Bemidji. It's like that was just a brutal way to finish. But hope springs eternal. I'm now one full year into Vikings football living, and I'm still on board. I mean, you can't chase me off that fast.
Attaboy. Stand strong. All right, well, new year, some changes. Mike Evans' Hollywood Report is coming, but the old boy's going to try sleeping in for a while and try the whole semi-retirement thing.
Oh, he's earned it.
I believe he has. We're coming back with a recorded Mike Evans Hollywood Entertainment Report here at 6:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talkin' text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Did you miss us? Oh, man. It's nice to be back. 1 year in for me, a new year for all of us. It's it's the kind of thing you're going to expect a 72-hour bump from. No question about it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Whoo, baby. Did anybody see any of the Golden Globes last night?
Oh, it's so funny you brought that up. Yes, I watched a few minutes. I was switching back and forth between football and the Golden Globes because I'm versatile. Can I just mention one moment?
Please.
I thought was hilarious. Ali Wong, who won for Beef. She's spectacular.
Yep.
But she couldn't find her way up to the stage to accept her award.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the Spinal Tap, hello, Cleveland moment. She was lost, but no one would help her. She's just wandering aimlessly around the room trying to get up to the stage.
Every few years that happens at the Globes. They've never figured out a way to make it easy for people who are nominated to make it to the stage. It's one of the strangest things. I didn't see any of the show because I was watching football, like you said. In fact, I forgot it was even on. But apparently, Joe Coy, the stand-up comedian, hosted, and boy, he went over like like what they say, a lead balloon, just getting crushed, people not laughing. And not only was he apparently not too funny, he responded to the audience groaning by throwing the writers under the bus. Like during the opening monologue, he said, I just got the gig 10 days ago. If you want a perfect monologue, shut up. That's what he said. Whew. Yeah, I don't think he'll be back.
Is when she goes from perfect beauty to bad breath, cellulite, and flat feet. Or what casting directors call character actor.
There it comes.
Yo, I got the gig 10 days ago. You want a perfect monologue? Yo, shut up.
Okay, all right. Well, they're laughing a little bit, I guess. But
he
boy,
didn't bomb in front of a lot of people. I think the ratings are out this morning. 7 people watched.
nice. That's great. But all I know is that Ricky Gervais is sitting back in London and his phone is just on fire right now, saying, "Please, what does it take?" I would say give it to Amy Poehler and Tina Fey just for life because when they hosted it together, it was always great. Always fantastic. Speaking of the Golden Globes, speaking of Hollywood, it's time for and as you just mentioned before the break, Zepp, Mike Evans will no longer be coming to us live. That's okay. We love Mike Evans. My man's going to be sleeping it in, if you will. Actually, just a pre-recorded but still very current Hollywood report. Let's get to it.
Hey, welcome back, guys. Hope you had a great vacation. And we start off with a quick reminder. This report, as always, brought to you by Marcus Theaters. Don't forget, Tuesday marks Special Value Tuesday, $6 for any movie at Marcus Theaters. How you doing, Steve? How you doing, Candace? How you doing, Zepp? Oh, look, I can act excited, but what a sad ending to the Vikings season yesterday. I mean, really, we can only dream what would have happened had Kurt not had the Achilles heel problem. Oh, well, there's always next year, and we still got the Timberwolves, so let's be happy for that.
I'm straight.
So with the death of Matthew Perry, there's been an insurgence of viewership, new people watching Friends. I got a pop quiz for you. Of Matthew Perry, Jennifer Aniston, Matt LeBlanc, David Schwimmer, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, which of these actors was the first to win an Emmy for the show Friends? I'll give you the answer in just a minute. On Friday, the New York Times did this 5,000-word expose suggesting that Taylor Swift could be part of the LGBTQ community or that she could be bi. Question: who cares? Oh, speaking of who cares, Golden Globes last night. Who cares? Too late for you to attend the Palm Springs Film Festival. I know, Steve, you love Palm Springs. It ended this past weekend. However, you might want to make plans for next year. A lot of free films, great weather, fabulous restaurants. Palm Springs, California is a very small community. You'll often see Goldie Hawn, Michael Douglas, Paris Hilton, Martina Navratilova, Barry Manilow, and other stars who all live down in Palm Springs. And with the January weather there in Minnesota, it's a perfect destination. Write it down next year. Plan ahead the Palm Springs Film Festival. That's a great getaway. Tonight, NCAA Championship. I think this is going to be a great game, and here comes the Mike Evans kiss of death. Michigan, 27. Washington, 17. By the way, Michigan favored by 4.5. Answer to the pop quiz question, which one of the stars of Friends was the first to win an Emmy Award? Matthew Perry, Jennifer Aniston, Matt LeBlanc, David Schwimmer, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow.
Kudrow.
The answer is Lisa Kudrow.
Yes.
How about that? Glad to have you guys back. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
I wish I was listening. What was the question?
Okay, hotshot.
I figure that, yeah, that's right. Sergeant Holka with the big toe is going to remind you. Lisa Kudrow won that. That was just a blind guess. I just figured who would I least expect to win an Emmy, and based on my limited knowledge of Friends, I figured it would be Phoebe. I can't even believe I know her character's name.
Phoebes.
Phoebes, is that it?
No,
So I
you
was
were
close.
close, though. Yeah,
I was
you were
close. Boy, so let me get this straight. We've got the Palm Springs Film Festival we're all going to next year. I think Mike just invited us. Yeah, Michigan, Washington tonight. And I'm a Wolverines fan from life. Trust me, it makes no sense. It is what it is. I'm not saying this because I'm a homer, but just watching the semifinal games, I think this is a total difference in what's going to happen in the trenches, and I feel pretty bullish about Michigan being able to kick Washington all over that field, which has been Michigan's weakness for the last 10 years, last 10 years plus. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm riding the Wolverines. I think they're going to be the national champs, and anyone that wants to argue that point, you're free to do so.
I thought we settled that already. Wasn't the national championship game was yesterday afternoon? South Dakota State, right? Won its second back-to-back FCS championship. Is there another football championship?
Oh, did the Desert Rascals win another title? What are they called? The what?
The Desert Rascals. I like that. The Jackrabbits. The head coach,
of course,
Engelmeyer, was my secondary coach when I played college
that's
ball
right.
in Northern and Aberdeen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I think the Jacks could probably take the Wolverines. In like foosball or something, probably.
Sure.
Bowling,
something.
maybe. Yeah.
I'm feeling.
Go Big Ten. Go Big Ten.
Yeah, I'm feeling like that's going to be the case. Although the Washington quarterback, Penix, boy, he is special, and he used to be in Indiana where my son goes to college. I've seen him play 3 times, and all 3 times he was just lights out. But his career in Indiana, every season ended with a season-ending injury after only 3 or 4 games, something like that. It's a great story. He's like 30. He's still playing college football. He's had so many injuries and so many recoveries, but special talent. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to that. But it is amazing. It's like college football is the second biggest sport in America, but compared to the NFL, the national title game is tonight, and all anyone's talking about is the NFL. We mentioned earlier a lot of coaches going to get fired. The Falcons fired Arthur Smith at 12:02 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Do you think that Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, was ready to get a new coaching search going at 12:02? He couldn't wait 3 minutes from when it made sense to do so. 12:02 Eastern. All right, we're making a move here. You're done. The wealthiest coach in NFL history now looking for a job. Fun fact reminder, Falcons head coach Arthur Smith's dad founded FedEx.
Oh, really?
His father is Fred Smith. He's a billionaire, and he's the head coach of the Falcons, or he was until a few hours ago. Crazy as it seems. We'll probably touch on this a few times throughout the day, but I can't believe we've made it this long without mentioning little problem with the Boeing 737 MAX again.
Woo,
over the weekend. If you didn't see this, an Alaska Airlines flight took off from Portland, Oregon, and then landed back at Portland, Oregon a few minutes later because, well, a hole exploded and blew out the side of the plane.
Yeah.
Shortly after it got past the 10,000 foot mark, actually. So they did a quick descent back underneath 10,000 feet. That's the Rubicon, I guess. You got to get down below 10,000 or you got some real issues with the oxygen and whatnot. The plane was immediately depressurized. A giant, it's a hole that they said was the size of a refrigerator, not a dorm room mini fridge, but like your refrigerator.
Yeah, that's a big hole. That'll create some suction here. We have a little bit of audio from the plane back to the tower. We're going to swing around and bring her back, and then one of the passengers.
We're declaring emergency. We need to descend down to 10,000. Okay, we need to turn back to Portland if we can get one. Yes, we need to descend. We declared an emergency.
There was a really loud bang towards the left rear of the plane, and a whooshing noise, and all the air masks dropped. And they said there was a kid in that row who his shirt was sucked off him and out of the plane, and his mother was holding on to him to make sure he didn't go with it. It was about as wide as a refrigerator and about as high as 2/3 of a refrigerator in height.
Oh, my God.
Just kind of sit there. It's not anything I have any control over. I mean, it's just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, just wait it out.
Now, Zepp, am I correct when I say that if it's a hole that big, it's actually better because the decompression happens quicker, it's not as intense? Like a smaller hole has way more suction, or am I just making that up?
I had the same question. I ended up Googling that. I thought, but there isn't a lot of evidence out there or a lot of conjecture or theories about, what size hole you'd prefer to have in the side of your airliner. But a couple of people, scientists had speculated that it was probably better that it was this main cabin door plug than, say, something a little bit bigger but smaller than... I don't know, maybe just the kid would have gotten wedged in the window or something like that. But, can you imagine? Whoop! There goes the kid's shirt. Grabbed the kid. Everyone okay, by the way, and they got her back down to the ground. Big high five to the crew while that plane... Oh, and by the way, there was an update this morning. They were still looking for that door, that piece of the airplane. It showed up in some Portland neighborhood, someone's yard.
Well, I hope they find the kid's shirt.
Yeah.
They did find 2 cell phones. One of them's still operational. True story.
Really?
2 phones, 2 people. Imagine you're the guy, you're just finally, I guess I'm going to play solitaire for another hour, damn it. And then, boom, it's gone. That was actually doing you a favor. Get off your phones, people. That's a message from the universe right there.
Not a relaxing division to be working in at Boeing, the 737 MAX. And I know that because I know someone who works in the 737 MAX division. Really? And her vacation was cut short.
Oh, I bet it was.
Yeah, there's some standing tall before the man. She's not in that area. I said, are you in the mid-cabin door plug division? No, the seat division. I'm like, all right, it's a good division to be in today for the 737 MAX. So they're grounded again, more than 170 of them, so there'll be flight interruptions.
I had a flight yesterday, and the airport was all a titter. It was a lot of there was a lot. That's you don't ground. It's not just one airline. It's a whole type of plane that a lot of airlines use. It was a big, a whole lot of confusion and longer lines all across. So, we'll keep you updated. But just put that in your pipe and smoke it. Next time you're booking a flight, just remember, that's right. Sometimes things go awry, and the numbers are still very much in your favor. You're far more likely to get struck by lightning. Do we feel better now? Oh, my God. Let's look back. How about a history lesson? I mean, I'd like to offer a history lesson if we could.
School sucks.
All right. You know what?
Hang in there.
Oh, am I hanging in?
She froze. Okay, here you go.
History. Remember where the past. Remember that? Comes alive.
We're back.
In 1955, on this day, the University of Kentucky basketball team was ranked number 1 in America, and they lost to Georgia Tech at home 59-58. That was significant because they had not lost a game at home in over 12 years. Kentucky had a 130 straight home game winning streak. And if you don't understand what home cooking is, trust me, that's what that was. People in the state of Kentucky, where I grew up, still talk about the fact that you could not get a win there no matter what you did. The refs were as crooked as they've ever been. 130 years, 130 straight home games. As a kid who grew up playing basketball in the state, trust me, you want to be playing at home at all times, no matter what.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, January the 8th. Good morning. We are back from a long holiday break, and we are very happy to be back. I'm thrilled to be starting my second year in this very chair. I've come to see Minnesota as home. I'm saying that in a funny voice. I don't know why, because it's true. I'm completely serious. I'm absolutely thrilled to be a Minnesotan, and I'll tell you for a lot of reasons. And one of the things I think is really, really absolutely cool about Minnesota was Saturday night over at the XL Energy Center, because the Professional Women's Hockey League, which just started for the first time, Minnesota had a game that set the record, the attendance record for the most ever to attend a professional women's hockey game Saturday night. 13,316 folks turned up. And I think that is absolutely awesome.
It's appropriate that happened here.
I think it is very appropriate here. 13,000 people coming up in the state of hockey to take this. The Professional Women's Hockey League just kicking off for the first time. There are 6 teams in this league: Minnesota, New York, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and Boston. And if you go to the standings, Minnesota with a 2-0 record is sitting right on top, baby.
That's who I should be watching. They televise those. I mean, the Wild are batting 500. They're hanging in there. That hot streak seems to be cooling off a little bit. But, yeah, this is great. I mean, women's hockey, Minnesota was 10 years out in front of every other state for women's hockey. And now when you watch women's hockey, by the way, just about every women's hockey team that you just mentioned, you could root for any one of those teams, and you're primarily rooting for Minnesota.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Filling it in. I remember the first time I watched women's hockey was a U.S. versus Canada game, and it's one of those where I flipped to it and I'm like, oh, women's hockey. I mean, this is years ago, but I remember thinking like, oh, well, let me see if this is any good. Stared at the TV for an hour and a half straight going, oh, my God, it was fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. And I just did not understand how sharp a woman's elbows could be. They were beating the snot out of each other. I just thought, my God, they are not getting cheated on the whole we're playing hockey for real thing. It was really exciting. And I think this is absolutely great. So there's 6 teams in the league, first time kicking it off. And of course, you know, the NHL for years had the original 6. Anybody feel like you can name the original 6 teams? I'll give it to you first. Can you throw out the original 6?
I'm going to say Minnesota and Montreal. Boston? Is Boston in there?
I can't say Minnesota's in the original NHL 6. I'm sorry.
They weren't in there. They weren't. Was there? No. I think there was one. Was there one American team in there, though?
No. It was there was actually 4 American teams and 2 Canadians.
All right, no, I've got nothing for you. I'll say Boston and New York just because, you know, they're the big markets back east that would have been in on that.
Yeah, you got the Bruins, you got the Rangers.
Yeah.
You've got your Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay, all right.
You've got your Detroit Red Wings. And then, of course, the Maple Leafs and the Canadians. That's the original 6.
Man. Again,
and by the way,
back to that original 6, I bet they were loaded with Minnesota kids.
Yeah, I'm sure they were. By the way, these were the only teams for 25 years from 1942 until 1967. When we, not you, Candace, but the 3 of us were all born at a time when there were only 6 NHL teams.
That's nuts.
The league did not expand until 67. I know a lot of people listening are like, yeah, no kidding. But it's just but it's funny to realize like, oh wait, it's not that long ago that it really was just a 6-team league that were just, and think about it, when there's only 6 teams, first of all, do you know how good you have to be to make a team? And secondly, do you know how familiar with each other all the teams are? Yeah, it's like every game is a playoff game because you know each other so well. Absolutely brutal.
It's like a high school hockey conference almost, you know.
Pretty much.
Year after year. Well, while we're talking about Minnesota sports stars nailing it, I just want to throw a shout out there. I know some of the family listening this morning. Afton's own Jessie Diggins making history with her 2nd Tour de Ski title. I don't know exactly what, but it's like, you know, winning the Tour de France. One of these super huge, big trophies you get over there in Europe, and she continues to dominate.
Nice. That's fantastic. There's a big cross country ski event happening in Minnesota this year, isn't there?
Yeah, she's on the world tour.
Yep.
I don't have that information in front of me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. We talked about it once though. Yeah, we'll look it up. I'm excited. Yeah.
Diggins is expected to return to Minnesota for the World Cup races at Worth Park in Minneapolis.
Yes.
It's February 17th through the 18th. Get your hot toddies ready. We'll be out there. The first World Cup in the U.S. since 2001. By the way, this Tour de Ski, the only American to ever win it, male or female, and she won it twice.
strong. I would really like to attend that event. I've never been to anything like it. I look forward to that. If you had said to me, if you had said to anybody 100 years ago, hey, in 1924, let's go back to that. If somebody had said, I think in 2024, the Minnesota Professional Women's Hockey League team is going to be 2-0, and they're going to have 13,000 people at a game. A lot of Americans would have said two things. First of all, I'm sorry, what's hockey? And then secondly, women, are you out of your mind?
That's crazy talk.
But it's crazy talk. But you know what? There are predictions from 100 years ago. These are on the record. 10 predictions about 2024 from 1924 that people in the world made, people of note. That's why these things were recorded. A syndicated advice columnist in America in 1924 predicted that in 2024, this year, nobody would still have teeth.
My Uncle Frank in mind.
Yeah, America's eating habits could drastically change our looks. Will we even have teeth at all in 2024? And then he went on to say, will there be any color on our face except paint? I'm not sure what the hell that means.
Makeup? I don't know.
Will men have any height to speak of, or will they be all girth? Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Close there.
Yeah, so 100 years ago, peyote was clearly easy to come by.
Yes.
But here's another one that I think is pretty fascinating. A professor at USC, the University of Southern California, predicted 100 years ago that by today, horses would be an endangered species. Automobiles would clearly render them useless. His quote was, in another 100 years, you may find horses in zoos. I don't think you'll be able to find them anywhere else.
That's ludicrous. How else are we going to feed the dogs?
That's a very good point. That's great. And I mean the Elmer's Glue Company. I mean they wouldn't still be. Isn't that what? Of all the urban myths, of all the urban and rural myths that I know, is that one true? Do they really send horses to the glue factory?
Old time cartoons would do that all the time. Send the horse off to the glue factory.
I mean, what is that?
Back in the day, they were making glue and women's makeup out of them.
Yeah, think about that. That was at one time. That was like hilarious for kids. Off to the glue factory, Nessie. That reminds me. Did anyone see Ace Frehley gave an interview the other day talking about the end of Kiss as a touring band? And Ace Frehley, out of the blue, just sideswiped Tommy Thayer. Tommy Thayer has been the lead guitarist in Kiss for over 20 years. He dresses like Ace. He looks like Ace on stage, and he plays those parts. And out of the blue, Ace Frehley's doing promo for a new album he has coming up. And he said, yeah, it's over for them. And then he goes, I was born with a certain gift to play a certain way that not anybody can replicate, and especially that Tommy Thayer. Now it's back to the bread line for him. That's what he said. Back to the bread line. What is this Depression era sideswipe out of the blue for the guy that took your gig? Back to the bread. I don't think Tommy Thayer's going to the bread line anytime soon. Anyway, that's to me the bread line and the glue factory. They just click in my brain for whatever reason.
When I was a kid, they always used to say that eventually people are going to have one eye in the middle of their forehead and only one finger to push buttons.
What?
Did you ever hear that when you were a kid?
No.
Well, well, that's right. You grew up in a cult. I forgot.
Yes.
That was you guys lived on a multicolored school bus, right?
I believed it for a while.
Wow. The one eye, one fingered cult.
To poke someone in their one eye, you've got to have one finger to poke them in their one eye. How about this one? 1924. Some of these are almost dead on. Working from home in a book called Wireless Possibilities. In 1924, guy basically predicted the internet. And says here, what a help to the man who objects to a large city. Why could he not conduct his business from his house in comfort? Radical.
Wow, that's a good. I saw a video of an English guy in the 50s, basically predicting cell phones from the 1950s, not 100 years ago, but 70 years ago or 60 something years ago, saying now that there are satellites in space, this will eventually lead to information being shared. I mean, he literally spelled it out like, no, we're going to have devices that we'll carry with us. This is decades before anybody thought about a mobile phone being operational. And that video is actually, they show that also at the beginning. There was a film that came out last year called BlackBerry about the BlackBerry device. Did any of you guys see that movie?
No, but I want to.
Didn't see it.
I watched it on a flight. Now, granted, every movie I see on a plane I think is really good. That's just the rule. But it's really good. It's worth watching. But yeah, this guy predicted it years and years ago. 100 years ago, a British politician said in 2024, life expectancy would be at least 100 years old, and 75 will still feel fairly young. That, not wholly entirely off base. I mean, certainly in 100 years, life expectancy has grown considerably. I think someone born in 1924 still had a life expectancy of under 70, and now in America, it's much closer to 80, if not a little older.
Well, they say the first person that will live to 150 years has already been born, and I just had a neighbor.
Let's find that kid and snuff him out just to be jerks.
Right, exactly. Track them down.
Oh, yeah? Oh, you're going to live to be 150? I don't think so.
Yeah, right. That means you're going to have to work to like 130 or something like that. No, thank you.
Yeah, really. Do you know how hard you got to work to save enough money to retire at a decent age to stay around till 150? Are you kidding me?
I mean, retire at 65, you're not even midlife there,
Holy smokes.
Like
that definitely changes everything. Here's another one from 100 years ago. Women will be in charge and men will be raising the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, women, kind of always been in charge, but
yeah, no kidding. I do remember thinking. I've thought for years. I mean, I look around at the state of the world, and sometimes, and I think, okay, we had our shot. Let's hand this over to the gals. Let's just see if they can, world peace. That's not going to happen unless the women take over. I mean, it's just all there is to it.
Ever been in a room with two women?
I have. I have, and
with two women, yeah.
No. I'm just saying. Let the moms. Give it to the moms. They got to be moms. Once the moms are in charge, they're not sending their kids off to war. That's all I'm saying.
No, they're sending their husbands off to war. We're screwed,
with good reason.
We're going to be
look, we've earned that right. We're terrible. Look at us.
I'm getting a little soft for the gladiator ring. I'm just saying. But let's be honest. Both parents are working. Social media, video games, they're raising the kids.
Yeah, that's very true.
Is that for cynical?
I like that. Cities, 100 years ago, here's one last one. Cities would be totally rebuilt around cars. Yeah, well, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
In 1924, this was a Swedish architect. He said, 100 years from now, I see triple-decker roads, 3-deck roads, speedways through the heart of towns, skyscrapers with entrances for automobiles as high as 15 stories. Not too far off right there.
No, I mean, I think probably nailed that one, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, the Swedes, they're between ABBA and IKEA, they got some smart kids over there.
I suppose it would be difficult to make a prediction for 100 years into the future, given, the time you're in. But now with AI, it just doesn't seem crazy to even think about what it might be like in 100 years. Probably all be over. But I'm just thinking now with everything, we're just going to be thinking things to each other. We're so close. They think that by the end of this year, we'll have a recordable device that will be able to record thoughts, not only in human beings, but in our pets. So we'll have a translator. We'll just, the bark will come out and feed me, man. Come on, man. Or whatever it is, I guess. We'll be communicating with our pets. Yeah.
I don't need my thoughts on. I don't need anyone. No. That's scary.
Yeah, the moment our inner truth is exposed, get your ticket out of society, the island on the island on the island, man, because that's going to bring it all to a crashing end. Humanity, we've worked ourselves. All right. Well,
that's rough.
Maybe we should move along. We have a game show at 8 o'clock we're going to be playing. Tony will explain that to us. I don't know what's going on with that. It's a new thing for a new year. And that's coming up here at 8 o'clock. We might have to get in this story. It happened while we were on break. But did you hear about this Minnesota woman right here in the metro that the dentist applied 20 restorations in a single visit?
Oh, yeah. No, I want to talk about this. Thank you for reminding me.
All right. Let's get into this and some other nonsense here at 7:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, January the 8th. Happy birthday, David Bowie. Happy birthday, Elvis Presley, the king of rock, born on this day in 1935. I don't have any problems with the dentist. Never have. And I mean, I've got a lot of dental problems, but the dentist has never been one of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a kid. I'm the 8th kid in my family. I went to the dentist in first or second grade, and I had 16 cavities.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not making that up. 16. Now, they were baby teeth, I guess. Maybe I was younger then, because baby teeth are falling out before you're 7 or 8, aren't they? Whatever year it was, I mean, it was a pretty legendary thing. Like, the dentist looked at my mom, I'm sure, like, okay, so Mrs. Gorman, what's going on over there? And what was going on over there was I was brushing my teeth with Cocoa Puffs, and that didn't work. Apparently, but it was a wake up call. I did not have to get 16 fillings. That's all I can tell you. That's why I assume they're baby teeth. But I had an issue as a kid. I crashed my bike. My front 2 teeth, the big giant beaver choppers at the front of my mouth. I smashed those in the street, and they turned dead. I killed all the nerves in those teeth. They turned black. My permanent big teeth. And then they finally came back. But for about a month, I had 2 black teeth. And the dentist said, no, the color will come back. And it did, sort of. So I've had stained, I've had bad looking teeth for years. And then I've had a couple of root canals. I've had issues. However, I've never had an issue with the dentist. I always figure they're doing the best they can. I'm a mess. I got problems up here. I go to the dentist right now. I get a checkup. If it lasts more than 10 minutes, I fall asleep in the chair oftentimes. I truly do. I'll lean back and I'm like, this is kind of nice. I'm cool with it, is my point. And now, of course, my dentist in Minneapolis, Dr. Steve Gorman, real man, real name, great guy, working on we're getting some work done. I'm gonna look like $1 billion here pretty soon. Trust me when I say. A long time coming because of the weird, nerve dead teeth and that whole thing. But my point is this: I'm not one of those people that freaks out about going to the dentist. Any of you have dentist phobia?
No. I mean, I don't. I should do it more often, I guess, get on kind of one of those regular deals. Mm-hmm. But unlike you, I did really well with cavities. Like you, child of the 70s, 80s, which processed sugar food. We were eating the Captain Crunch.
Sure.
5 times a day whenever Mom wasn't looking. We were draining the box of Boo Berry or whatever, Count Chocula. But anyway,
right.
Yeah, so on all that stuff, my brother, every time we'd go into the dentist, would have 4 cavities, and I think maybe I've had 4 in my life. So the dentist's been a pretty easy slide.
Good for you.
Me. Yeah,
now, Tony, I know you have dentures, right?
Yeah, not only on top and bottom, but I just always carry a few extras.
Right.
My pocket's a different color. I have grills now. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Silver and gold.
I a couple times. It's funny. Tony's such a jokester. I'll sit on a pair of his dentures sometimes. It's like, whoa, who's biting my ass? No, any issues with you and the dentist, Tony?
What I hate is the toothpaste that they use. It's the severe, dramatic mint, and it's crunchy. And it makes me cringe.
Isn't
dramatic.
That because I actually like that. I was like, God, that's so fresh and minty. Oh, yeah. That's kind of one thing I kind of like about it. But yeah, different strokes.
Candace, how are we with the dentist?
Yeah, I'm fine now. When I was younger, I feel like I used to have more. And my friend Andrea, she has to take meds before she goes to the dentist because she'll freak.
Yeah. I know people like that who really have some issues. And over the holiday, we haven't been on the air for a couple of weeks, but there's a story that broke. Speaking, and this is in Minneapolis. A woman has filed a suit against a local dentist, a guy named Kevin Muldrum. She says she's still experiencing pain, suffering, emotional distress, and disfigurement because she went to see this man in 2020. And in one visit, 4 root canals, 8 crowns, and 20 restorations.
Oh my God, and a partridge in a pear tree. That's a nightmare. I mean, how long does that take?
I don't.
Hours and hours. I mean, did he
inexpensive too?
Go out to dinner and come back and finish, or what's going on there?
I've had.
She's gassed the entire time. She must be out of it.
Gotta
obviously.
Gotta be. I've had 2 root canals, not at the same time, but one 30 years ago and one 10 years ago. And, it's not that traumatic a thing, whatever. That's what the Novocaine's for. You get through it. But it's an hour minimum. You're in the chair getting dealt with and making sure it's right. 8 crowns. I've also had a couple of crowns. Not something that happens in a matter of. You're not saying let's see, that crown, that's 4 minutes of work. No, it's far more than that. And 20 restorations. This is like this is Guinness Book of World Record level stuff. Like, how long can a dentist stay awake? And I guess the answer is just days on end. This is crazy to imagine.
Win a bet with his dentist buddies. I mean, these are alleged things. There's a lawsuit involved, blah, blah, all that stuff. But the story that I was going crazy, I saw it on nearly every news source from CNN to, our local news and everything in between here this morning. But, looking at this now, over 4 hours and may have over anesthetized her a bit, too. These, again, are all allegations at this point. But, wow, I remember the big dental scandal we had here like 20 years ago. There was a dentist that was playing bad touch with female patients. Boy. Boy. Yeah, right. No, they got him, and I don't know what happened to him. Let's hope he ended up with some jail time on that deal. But that was cut and clear. This guy's just overly ambitious, I think. Just really going for it, man. There was a story back in, 5 or 6 years ago about a guy who sued the dentist after all of his teeth were pulled because he had an abscess. The dentist made the diagnosis, no x-rays, charged the man like $5,000 and pulled every one of his teeth.
They all got to go.
They all got to go. You want to get that second opinion, kids.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I've never had anything but sterling encounters and situations with. I've been. I mean, everybody I've ever had. And again, I'm the guy who goes in there. I'm like apologizing to them before it starts. Like when I got to Minneapolis, for the first time I went to the Gorman Center for Fine Dentistry, I was like, okay, look, let me explain what's going on here. They've seen everything. They're fine. They're great. But I always feel the need. It's like when you start therapy and you just, after a while, I'm like, well, the therapist isn't laughing. Isn't this supposed to be kind of funny? And then I realize, like, oh, wait, I'm looking at this wrong. I'm not, once your goal is to get them to laugh, you're kind of missing the plot. And I realized at some point, like, they've seen far. I mean, my teeth are a mess, but they've seen far worse. I don't have to explain anything. They've been through it all. They know what's going on.
Oh, yeah, they have. I did the same thing. I hadn't had my teeth cleaned in 10 years or something like that. And finally, I had some dental insurance rocking here at the queue, and I'm like, I'm going to go get my teeth cleaned. And I did the same thing. I said, now, listen, it's been a while, blah, blah, blah. And she looked at me and she said, so in my spare time, I volunteer to go to the prison and clean teeth of inmates who've never had their teeth cleaned. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, good. Go for it. Yeah, this will be good for you. This will be a fine experience then if you've been through it. They've seen it all. They've done it all, but they tell you in great detail what they're going to do, how long it's going to take. I always think they just like to make you squirm and watch. And then you know what we're going to do? And then we're going to get the drill out and we're going to drill. No, but it's clearly he must not have mentioned to her, I'm guessing, that, by the way, here's what's on the menu today. 20 cavities filled after the root canals and the crowns. Oh, man. So, yeah, severed jaw was left. So can you imagine how sore your face would be?
Man, I can't imagine having a bad trip to the dentist. I have had one. When I see people freak out about a bad haircut, I don't make fun of them because I've had one experience in my life. As an adult, I mean, I don't mean when my dad in third grade took me to his Marine barber and the guy shaved my head. That was bad enough. But as an adult, like in the mid '90s, I went to get a haircut, and I had really long hair, and I didn't want it to be quite so long. I was like, just make it look like something. And this woman gave me, and she was highly recommended. And I walked out of there, and it looked like I had a miniature replica of the Liberty Bell on my head. And I couldn't do. There wasn't a thing to be done about it except go to someone totally different and go, please fix this. But for like 3 or 4 days, I walked around, and I mean, strangers were doing double takes. It was like something about the way this person cut my hair. It literally had like a bell shape, and I was like, what? What the hell just happened? I had a good thing going, and I was surprised at myself at how freaked out I was by it. But when I see people like my daughter had a buddy a couple summers ago. She was a senior in high school, and she got a bad haircut, and she was devastated, and she was like, "This isn't what I wanted. It's terrible. I don't know what to do." And I remember, for a couple seconds, I was like, "Hey, listen, you're overreacting." And then I went, "No, actually, you're not." I remember that. Yeah, it's pretty rough. It was just I've just never in a million years. It's like, if you see Shrek, the king's haircut, like the little tiny diminutive king guy, it looked kind of like that. Oh man, that was brutal.
Now I'm picturing you in tights with a bell-shaped haircut.
Well, actually, you know what? I was in Ren gear a lot back then. I was rocking a lot of turkey legs and tights back in the mid-'90s for me. It was an experimental phase. I'll admit it.
I like it.
These things happen. Hey, you know what? You can catch up with Steve Gorman and the KQ Morning Show podcast anytime you want. Hilarious hijinks between the four of us. We do have a lot of great interviews on the show. Anywhere you get podcasts and anytime you want, you can find us. The KQ Morning Show podcast is there for you. And that podcast is sponsored by our dear friends at Candace. Go for it.
Devani's
Pizza and hot hoagies. Bam.
Yum.
I want a spoon with a hot hoagie.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
We are back from a 9-month vacation. I mean, it felt like it, didn't it? I mean, in a good way, but I was thrilled when I got up this morning. I really was. I was like, man, I kind of missed hanging out with my friends and just,
Ain't you sweet?
Just talking a bunch of morning nonsense. I'm excited. I'm very glad to be here. This is 1 year since I got up to Minneapolis, and nothing. Boy, I tell you what, if you told me a year ago I'd feel this damn good about starting year 2, I would have said pshaw. A year ago on Monday, January 9th at that time, I think the first thing I said was, it's really early and it's really cold, but I'm glad to be here. It was something along those lines, still kind of holds up. Really early, really cold, and I'm damn glad to be here.
You're Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. I'm very happy to be here.
We didn't make any bets about if the Southern guy would make it up here in the frozen tundra, but it was a winter last year. We had an all-time classic last year, but been fairly mild this year, although it's supposed to be getting cold here again pretty quick. But, yeah, you did well. You thrived.
A few days ago, I saw that it said on this day last year, Minneapolis had 53 inches of snow, and it was when Minneapolis had only had 3.5 this year. This is like a week ago. And I was like, yeah, really, man, I got up here. The funniest thing to me about the big move to Minneapolis was late November when my wife and I came up the first time for a couple days just to vibe it out, meet everybody, see if this was going to happen. We landed, and it was snowing kind of hard. It was like a pretty good snowfall. End of November, early December, whenever that was. And everybody that day said, I can't believe it's snowing. Like and like they were saying that as if to con me into thinking it wasn't a normal occurrence. And I kept saying, guys, I know where we are. It's Minnesota. I get it. You don't have to say that. I was amazed at how many people made a big deal about the fact, I can't believe you came here and it's snowing. And I was like, I get it. Trust me. But this year that would actually be it would make more sense because, I mean, where is it? Let's go. I mean, a little bit today right now and a little bit, it's coming. I'm the only guy in town. He's like really like waiting for it. I'm always ready for more snow. Call me crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you're nuts. You're crazy. We love winter around here. We thrive with winter. And now, there was a list this morning. I saw a bunch of our winter stuff around here being canceled, a lot of the ice stuff, and a few things are hanging in there. But, man, everybody's like, it's just a really mild El Nino winter. But look out, man. January in Minnesota never fails to deliver some cold weather, some snow. It's coming.
Yeah, I'm always more concerned with the sub-zero than I am the snow. So I'm going to have I imagine I'll get plenty of both over the next month or so, next couple months. Before we talk about the pending NFL playoff situation where one team I can think of in particular will not be participating, we do have a game that we want to play today. Now, this is going to take a little bit of explanation. I'll just forewarn you, Tony. I'm going to let you explain exactly what we're doing today.
Okay. This is a brand new animal. There's a fun new game show weeknights at 5 Central on Game Show Network called Blank Slate. Maybe you remember the board game. And it's hosted by the one, the only Mario Lopez, of course.
Oh, sure.
It's about matching clever fill-in-the-blank answers with your teammates, getting some help from various comedian guests like Joey Avery, Francis Collier, Vinny Fastline, Greg Fitzsimmons and stuff.
Okay.
And getting a bonus for also matching the top answer with the people at home who have been previously polled. So we're going to play a radio version of Blank Slate right now. And Candace has listeners on the line, and then I'll explain how to play.
Fair enough. So are we going to the first caller, Candace? Who we got?
Alrighty, we have Michael from St. Paul.
Hi, Mike.
Good morning, Michael. Are you ready to play a little blank slate with us?
Oh, Mike.
Can you hear? No.
Mike is camera shy.
Oh,
attaboy.
Okay. Well, Steve can hear him. I can't hear him. Can you?
I can hear him.
What
I can
the
hear him
heck?
just fine. He said he's driving, so he's going to close his eyes to concentrate.
Can't hear him.
Yeah. Said something about
There we go.
gets on his nerves, didn't he?
All right, Tony.
What?
Are you,
Steve?
All right,
No.
is that better?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
there we go.
All right.
There we go.
All right. He's back in the game. Okay. What I'm going to do is read a fill-in-the-blank question and then ask the delightfully clever Mr. Steve Gorman to write down his answer.
Okay.
And if you can match the same answer as Steve or the people at home top answer, you'll win $100 and a blank slate board game of your very own to covet and play with your own family.
Holy crap.
How about that?
I'm literally crying right now.
Oh, get this man a
exciting.
tissue. Tito, get him a tissue. All right, Pally, here's the question. You ready for the first one?
I am.
Kara just got a new car that runs on diesel. Vin Diesel, that is. Vin Diesel is so strong, he just blanks the car wherever Kara needs it to go. Steve, write down your answer.
What? Vin Diesel is so strong, he just blanks the car wherever Kara needs it to go. All right, I'm going to fill in. I'll give you my. I'm just seeing Gene Rayburn. I'm sorry, Amari Lopez. I'm just seeing that tiny little microphone, the thin, skinny, long mic.
Yeah.
All right, I got my answer. I'm ready.
Okay, listener, what is your response, sir?
That's a tough one with Vin Diesel now that he's a little older.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say powers the car.
Powers the car.
Powers the car.
Steve, do you have the answer? Powers.
No, I did not go with powers. I said he simply throws the car wherever he needs it to go because I'm just picturing, I don't know what I'm picturing. I went with throws. I imagine that's not the top answer either.
No, it is not. And the people at home top answer is pushes. Pushes.
Oh, well, now that makes perfect sense. That actually makes perfect sense. Why would Vin Diesel throw a car?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe 20 years ago. Now I think he has to have help, but yeah.
Right. It's just really getting on Vin. He's let himself go a little bit, I understand.
Well, let's. Why don't we keep moving on here? You seem to have a real good grasp on this. I'm going to give you number 2, okay? There once was a frog who lived by the bog. He loved to play and splash all day and frolic in mud like a blank. Steve, write down your answer.
Okay.
All right, listener, what is your response, sir?
Well, there's frolic in mud is going to be like a pig, so I'll go with pig.
Well, remember it was bog.
There was a frog who lived by the bog. I wrote down hog. I thought that just made perfect sense.
Judges?
So close to the pig.
Yeah,
that doesn't
I get the rhyming thing now.
I went with the rhymescape. Tony, tell me something.
Yeah. No, that one. No, sorry. The pig did not rhyme with hog.
The pig did not make it.
Nay.
Did I get
1 out of 100 here?
Oh man!
I'll give you a third
only
one.
98 to go.
All
right, number 3.
SpongeBob ate one too many Krabby Patties. He had to change out of his square pants and into some blank pants.
I got one.
scribbling,
I
Steve.
got one.
All right.
Let me think on this. So,
Okay.
Patty, square pants.
Change out of his square pants and into some blank pants.
I'd go with pig again.
Pig pants, all the rage.
What do you have, my listener friend?
Oh, I'm still. It's got to be Patty. It's got to be something with hamburger pants or something like that.
What?
Old ham pants.
Sometimes it's just kind of literal.
So hungry.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going with hamburger pants? Is that your answer?
Wow. Steve, what did you have?
Well, I'm going to go from his Krabby Pants into his Happy Pants. How about we just go with that?
Okay.
Steve?
I went straight 1980s and went parachute pants just because that's the first thing that came to mind.
Oh, see the
Lover
top.
boy, baby.
The top people at home answer was sweat. Sweatpants.
It hit me after the fact.
Yeah.
That
We
makes
were probably
sense.
in the top 1,000, though, I think.
Safe to say you were, brother. Michael, I'm sorry. This just doesn't seem to be your day.
Well, I'm making it home. So you guys kept me awake for a few minutes here on the road. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Right on. I mean, I guess we're moving on. Do we have someone else? Do we have another caller who's ready to try this thing?
Vicky from Shakopee.
Okay. Vicky, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you ready to play a little blank slate with us?
Sure.
Great. Sure. Well, don't sweat it.
All right,
Vicky is chill, man. I'm digging your energy, dear.
All right, Vic. Here's a question for you. The dolls in Dorothy's dollhouse all use water bottle caps as cups and blanks as coasters. Dorothy's dollhouse. They use blank as coasters.
Is this on the SATs?
Muffin.
Oh.
Liners.
Muffin liners. Yeah, I could see it.
That's a good answer.
The dolls in Dorothy's dollhouse use water bottle caps as cups. I put quarters as coasters. What do you got, Tony?
The people at home said pennies.
Pennies? That's too small. I mean, at least I was in the right frame of mind with the coin thing. Yeah. I like the muffin liner better than all of them, but the people at home, I guess they win. All right, let's get on. Let's get this one right, Vicky. Let's go.
All right, we can do this. This is going to happen. This butcher has the best meat in town. We always have a friendly conversation while he blanks it in front of me. Steve, you writing down your answer?
While he cuts it in front of me.
While he does what?
Cuts it.
Cuts? What did you say, Steve-O?
I put cuts.
Oh, thank goodness.
All caps. C-U-T-S. The butcher is doing some cutting, and Vicky just scored $100 on a board game, if memory serves.
People at home was the top answer.
Yes.
So you are the big winner with the Blank Slate gameplay. Don't forget to watch Blank Slate weeknights at 5 Central on Game Show Network.
Right on. Congrats, Vicky.
Got that.
Thank you.
All right. Smackers. There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah, that worked out. Fair enough.
I wrote down beats. You know,
Beats?
Beats,
Right.
like you beat your meat.
Right.
Don't you guys beat your meat?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Silly
Look
question.
over here right now.
During the game show.
Speaking about beating the meat, now this is a terrible segue. How about we just talk a little football?
I'd love to.
That'll tone Candace down a little bit. That'll cool her off this morning. She loves talking about football. I know we've got the playoff picture out in front of us. It's wild card weekend. We can
Coaches getting fired left and right. What are you kidding?
I think there was a new firing this morning. We'll get into all that here at 8:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. The NFL playoffs are upon us. Whoo, baby. You know, it's only 17 weeks long, the NFL season, but man, does it seem like you look at teams that we thought looked pretty good in September and look at some of those teams now. I mean, so many twists and turns and so many bizarre storylines pop up throughout the entire season. I mean, the Vikings alone, that's like a 22 episode miniseries this season. To get the defense in line and really, really one of the top Ds in the league, and have Cousins go down, and then you got the Pasternak. Dobbs comes in, Josh Dobbs, for 2 games, looks like an all-world NFL quarterback, and then reminds the world why he's a perennial backup. And then Jaron Hall does nothing, Mullen does nothing. I mean, it's just up and down. Justin Jefferson comes back, shows everyone again, oh yeah, he's phenomenal, and then he gets hurt. It was just the twists and turns, the ups and downs. It's phenomenal that one team can go through all that. Every team has a similar arc. I mean, just yesterday, the Niners lost again to the Rams. Like, how does something like that happen? I know the playoff positions are all locked down, but still, it's bizarre to see, Carson Wentz on the field playing football. What the hell's happening?
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, well, the Flack is back, baby.
The Eagles lost 5 out of 6. They're now in the wild card.
Yeah. They just lost to the New York Giants yesterday. It's incredible. Joe Flacco, by the way, a lot of Gormans are my nephews and very close family members in Baltimore, Maryland right now, already sweating bullets at the idea of their beloved Ravens having to play against in round 2 their beloved Joe Flacco, who, if he comes back to Baltimore with the Browns, you're going to see a stadium having a psychic meltdown. They love Joe so much, and they'll be cheering against him. It's just great. There's really the drama is phenomenal across the league when you look at what's going on. And now the playoff picture is set. And did you want to have some drama? Round 1, wild card round, starts this Saturday, January the 13th. Now, you've got the Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans. Now, that's Joe Flacco, in case anyone's not been paying attention, who a couple months ago was sitting on his couch, literally not associated with a team. The Browns call him, and all of a sudden, he's leading their incredible defense on a tear. They are going to go down and play the Houston Texans. I think the Browns will be favored. I haven't seen the line yet. But C.J. Stroud, great rookie year for the Texans. But the Browns is a story that everyone's excited about. But game 2 on Saturday is the Miami Dolphins at Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Now, before the two teams have both had really, really bizarre years. But here's the thing that blows my mind. This game will be shown only on Peacock.
Right. Kind of weird.
An NFL playoff game that is on a network you have to subscribe to watch. I don't know what the NFL is thinking. Well, I know what they're thinking. Peacock gave them $110 million for one game. That's what they're thinking. But this is wild. Now, if you live in Kansas City or Miami, I believe it will just air on NBC like normal. But the rest of the country, to watch a game with the defending champion Chiefs against Tua and the really exciting Dolphins, you have to be a subscriber. I just don't get it. That's going to be completely insane. A lot of pissed off football fans Saturday night.
Arguably, probably the most entertaining matchup on the schedule this weekend, I think, is Miami at Kansas City. So that one could go either way, but a big AFC matchup. I think maybe you'll still get it on the NFL package. I haven't checked that yet. But, the Browns at Houston. I'll put my money on Houston. I love this kid down there, and they're playing pretty good D as well. You know who else is big on Joe Flacco? Everyone else in the AFC North. We love Joe Flacco. He got us once, but mostly he was a big choker. The Browns don't go anywhere. End of the story on that one. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, I wish they had made the playoffs. Just wish they had. I don't want to see them lose. They're going to lose big time in Buffalo, and T.J. Watt's out.
That's right.
That one sucks. But here's my upset pick. You ready for it? It's crazy, but I say the Packers beat the Cowboys in Dallas.
Oof.
Wow. No,
really?
Boy, that's a stretch.
Happen. You heard it here.
Okay.
Really?
Pretty bold, mister.
I'm putting $1 million on it. Tony, I need $1 million.
All right.
I think that would that I wouldn't raise an eyebrow if the game were at Lambeau, but Dallas is pretty tough to beat in Dallas.
Unbeatable at home, and they score like 30, 40 points a game. Green Bay Packers win in Dallas. It pains me to say it. It's going to happen.
You know what? Nothing would be more Jerry Jones-like, though. I mean, the guy, for all of the hype, and as much as the Cowboys are still a dominant team in terms of conversation, that's just what they do. They crap the bed every time everyone starts to buy into them. That would be fantastic. The Detroit Lions are hosting the Rams. That is a tough team right now. The Rams have figured it out. Great coach. And, these are all going to be – I look at this whole list of games, and there's not a single game other than that Buffalo hosting Pittsburgh. I actually think Dallas is going to take Green Bay. But the rest of the games, I think they're all toss-ups.
Yeah.
Going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, Stafford against the Lions is going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the one that could happen right there. There's the 6 against the 3 that could upset. And I just want to be as outrageous as I could and pick because I've got nothing to lose. I'm not an NFL guy. But, that's why I like the Pack upsetting Dallas. And I just like to see Dallas lose games that they're supposed to win. And I think, right, exactly, all the way through. But, Well, it should be entertaining. The playoffs, much more entertaining, I think, than most of the Vikings season has been. It's had its ups and downs, a few entertaining moments. The year before, entertaining as hell. But this year, I mean, there was a moment or two, but mostly, you just felt sorry for him.
It was pretty rough watching some of that game against the season-ending loss to the Lions yesterday, 30-20. Nick Mullins, he got hit 15 times during that game. That's a lot. I don't care who you are. He was just getting knocked around. One of the things I really thought was funny is after the game, Mullins said about the Lions defense, he said, well, they're really aggressive. Among other things. And I was like, yeah, it's an NFL defense. That's what they do. They're gonna.
Then he cried about it.
Yeah, they're gonna play man coverage, and they mix up the zones, and blitzes come from everywhere. Yeah, it's called the National Football League. I don't think there's a defense in the league you could call not aggressive.
Yeah, I think we do the Herschel Walker trade, but in reverse, Justin Jefferson for an offensive line. Get her done.
I tell you what, a solid offensive line is boy, is that important. And, I saw something today. The two quarterbacks playing in tonight's collegiate national title game, Penix from Washington and McCarthy from Michigan, two quarterbacks people are thinking are both first-rounders. That kid, Michael Penix Jr. for Washington, if you haven't seen him play, watch the game tonight. He is phenomenal. And the idea of him coming here and throwing balls to Justin Jefferson for the next 10 years,
nice.
Holy smokes, that kid's got an absolute gun, and he's very accurate, and he never gets hit. Very, very. I think he's been sacked 5 times, something like 5 times all year. It's some crazy. He's just a really, really, really smart in-the-pocket passer for Washington. So the collegiate championship tonight, I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Michigan's got the edge. They're 4.5-point favorites. And I just think they're going to win it in the trenches, as they say. I like saying things like that. It's all going to come down to the game in the trenches. I'm watching the ball like everybody else. I don't know what the hell those linemen are doing. But I do think they're going to push them around. Watching Michigan throw Alabama around the way they did, and this is speaking as a Michigan fan, I was astonished. I've never seen a Michigan team whip ass on an SEC team, especially in the line play, quite like that. So it was a welcome sight. And I'm the kind of Michigan fan where I wasn't like celebrating when they won. I just was relieved that I wasn't going to be made fun of by all my friends this time around. Like it's it's not like I'm living and breathing. I didn't go to school there. It's a family thing. I would get rid of it if I could. It's just such a part of me. But so I wasn't like, yes, I wasn't, pumping my fists well into the night. I just felt relief. Oh, thank God. I don't have to answer text messages for a whole week now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's you've only been in Minnesota for a year. You're one of us now. You're a Minnesotan, but you've been in the Big Ten with Michigan for a long time, and that's how
lifelong.
You feel anytime the Big Ten plays the SEC. Anytime that happens, you're just relieved because, we've been sending number one powerhouses, Ohio State and Michigan, and some of these teams against the SEC for years, and sometimes not even their best. And they get whooped. So, go Michigan, go Big Ten. I think they get it done tonight as well. Oh, by the way, the Vikings have the 11th overall pick in this year's draft.
It's 11?
11. So
Penix may not be there.
Yeah, might not be there, especially if he has a big game tonight. But, quarterbacks, and he's one of the tops in college in the draft this year. I don't know if he'll be there at 11. We'll see. But they could trade up. Who are they going to get rid of? Who are they going to trade? Jefferson. But if you're going to get a quarterback, then you want Jefferson.
You definitely want Jefferson if you find someone to sling the ball around.
I mean, you better I don't know what kind of cap money they have, but they need to go out and get themselves an offensive line. And to be fair, this offensive line, pretty talented. A lot of fantastic offensive linemen on there, but they never really had a chance to play together as a 5-man team for much of this season.
No, just beaten up nonstop. Around the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons fired Arthur Smith, their head coach, at 12:02 a.m. Arthur Blank, I guess that's a gentleman's 2-minute wait. He could have done it right at the stroke of midnight, but he thought he'd give him 2 extra minutes. Arthur Smith will be fine. He is the son of Federal Express founder Fred Smith. Just think about that for a minute. The guy's an NFL head coach, and his dad is billionaire FedEx founder Fred Smith. Arthur Smith, I got to know him, not personally, but as a coach. He was my Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator for years. Really, really good offensive coordinator. Really, really bad head coach. But that's often the case. A lot of first-time coaches really struggle in this league. The big story that I find most fascinating is about Bill Belichick in New England. The rumors have been flying the last few weeks that his status is very much up in the air. I don't expect Bob Kraft, owner of the Patriots, to wait very long to let the world know what he's doing. But Bill Belichick has been in New England for a lifetime, my son's lifetime. My son's 23 years old, and he literally doesn't know what it's like to not see Bill Belichick. And until lately, he didn't understand that the Patriots weren't supposed to win 12 games a year. He just thought that's how football worked. I mean, the greatest run in the history of the NFL for a head coach might be coming to us close here pretty soon. And then I just did see this. Ron Rivera, the Washington Commanders coach, was also fired today already.
Yeah, and there goes Brian Flores. Now, he wants a head coaching job. He deserves a head coaching job.
Yep.
Most likely he's going to get a head coaching job. I mean, I just don't see any way around it. But the big money is on him going to Washington. They want a new culture there, and they like their defensive coordinators, kind of like they do in New England. Robert Kraft likes them too, and he likes to spread the money around. So maybe Flores is headed off to that direction. But the firings are just starting, by midweek.
Oh, there will definitely be some more. There will definitely be some more. It's interesting. Belichick to Washington. He's a Maryland guy. He grew up son of a naval commander. He grew up basically in the U.S. Navy with his dad, so he's very familiar with that area. That would be pretty fast. I think wherever Belichick goes, it's going to be a lot like what unless he's got a top shelf quarterback. I think for years, the Patriots, it was Tom and Bill. I think it was the combination was what was so successful. But I also think that since those days started, the league has changed so much that if you don't have a top-tier, top-shelf quarterback, you're only going to go so far. And so Belichick is looking at one thing: where is a great quarterback? And that brings up the Chargers, because they also need a coach, and that Justin Herbert is pretty special, and he needs a real coach. So I don't know. We'll see. It's always fascinating to me. And then, I mean, on top of it, this is enough football talk for the day, clearly. But just I want to go back to step one, to the first point we made, and that is that Brian Zepp has gone out on a limb and said the Packers are going to go down to Texas and beat the Cowboys. And a week from today, we will either be just ripping you endlessly or sitting back in awe going, the only man in America who called it was Brian Zepp. I look forward to finding out which it's going to be.
You're mental.
I got a feeling I'm going to be eating some crow on that one. But, what the hell? I just looked at the lineup and I thought, come on, Dallas. It's more of a wish than anything else. I think I've got a lot of big Dallas fans in the family. And as a kid that was born in Pennsylvania, Steelers fans, 70s, those great Steelers, Super Bowl 10 and 13 against the Dallas Cowboys. They might have lost one later. I don't want to get into the Neil O'Donnell era, but anyway, right. But anyway,
normally on Mondays at 9:00 we have Robert Smith, the Vicon, join us. That was the plan for today. He has had, as many people around the country have had today, a delayed flight. His plane took off early. He is in the air right now, so he will not be calling. However, we have scheduled him for Wednesday morning. We will have a season recap with the Vicon, Robert Smith. Always going to be always a pleasure to speak with him. This one will be a little bittersweet, as it'll be our last time for the season with the Vikings now eliminated. But that's going to be coming up Wednesday morning, not today.
Looking forward to that. Coming up at 9:00. Did you know that yesterday was Dating Sunday? It's the busiest day of the year for dating apps.
Yesterday?
It makes sense. We've cleared the holidays. It's a long, slow march through winter. You want someone to cuddle with. So we've got a bunch of dating. It's changed a lot. I did a couple of dating apps back in the day, Match, Tinder, Plenty of Fish. I did a few, but now you Google dating apps, it's an endless list. We're going to put you to the quiz. Maybe our dater, Candace, she's as close to being single, I think, on the show as anyone these days. I'm not sure, but we're going to give you the dating app, and you try to guess who they're targeting in that dating app. Dating apps coming up at 9:00. Yeah, some of these are really weird. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Monday, January the 8th. Good morning to ya. Normally at this time on this day, Monday at 9 a.m., Robert Smith joins us. The Vikings great. We talk about the Vikings game from over the weekend and we look ahead. That's not happening today. Not because Robert Smith is so despondent over the Vikings loss. No, he's just on a flight that was delayed. So he's a couple hours behind schedule. He calls NFL games and then he gets out at the crack of dawn and gets back home. And today things did not go his way. So he's going to join us on Wednesday to recap not just Sunday's game with the Lions, but the Vikings season. And then we'll talk about what they need to do looking forward. And we'll, talk NFL playoffs with Robert, of course. That's going to be Wednesday. Part of the reason my man was behind the eight ball, if you will, part of the reason he was delayed probably is because over 100 Boeing 737 MAX planes have been grounded. I flew over the weekend and I noticed very long lines at both airports I was in because on Friday, an Alaska Airlines jet took off from Portland, Oregon, and a big piece of the side of the plane just decided it had enough and was going to go back to Earth, like a door. Basically, it's a mid-cabin door plug. It's an optional emergency exit that can be added, but this particular plane had permanently plugged it. It looks just like a normal side panel with a window, but it's actually an optional door. It just blew off. After the plane had reached over 10,000 feet, the bell dings and suddenly you're free to walk about the cabin. Well, boom, a piece of the plane on the side blows out. A large hole that was described to be the size of a refrigerator. No deaths, no injuries, just a whole lot of terrified passengers. The plane landed back at Portland safely. Again, everybody was okay, if not a little bit traumatized by the event. So all of those Boeing 737 MAX is the specific type of 737. They've all been grounded. If you are flying anywhere this week, double check that you weren't supposed to be on one of those planes. Double check that your flight is anywhere within a few hours of when it was supposed to take off, because it only takes one thing like this to send a ripple throughout the travel industry, as we all know.
Yeah, about 170 of them ended up grounded, and they think it's going to be a couple of weeks, and you've got a 3-day weekend coming up. It's not good. Here's a little bit of audio from what you were talking about. We're going to hear the tower call back and forth to the cockpit, and then one of the passengers on the plane.
We're declaring emergency. We need to descend down to 10,000. Okay, we need to turn back to Portland if we can get one. Yes, we need to descend. We've declared an emergency.
There was a really loud bang towards the left rear of the plane, and a whooshing noise, and all the air masks dropped. And they said there was a kid in that row who his shirt was sucked off him and out of the plane, and his mother was holding on to him to make sure he didn't go with it. It was about as wide as a refrigerator and about as high as 2/3 of a refrigerator in height. Just kind of sit there. It's not anything I have any control over, and it's just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, sure. Lean your seat back a little bit. By the way, where that door plug you were talking about, refrigerator size, along with the passenger that popped out, the two seats adjacent to it, one lost all of its cushions, the other one the headrest, just happened not to have passengers for this flight.
Oh, boy.
Where there are empty seats. But those two seats next to the hole just happened to be empty. Lucky.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
That door plug was found Sunday in the backyard of a school teacher in Portland, Oregon. Looked out. I've always had this terrible fear because of one story I heard about in the 80s where a guy was walking down the road and he was hit by a frozen ball of airline waste. Remember that? When you use a bathroom, when you go to the airplane lavatory, that stuff all goes somewhere. And apparently there was a flight that released a big frozen ball of fluids, bodily stuff, and it fell and it hit a guy. And that traumatized me, and I read about it, like in the USA Today in like 1984. I've never thought about the idea of walking into your backyard and seeing what looks like the door of an airplane in your backyard, but it was found. Thankfully, didn't hurt anybody as it fell to the ground.
Yeah.
Yowza. 2 phones were pulled through. One phone was found completely intact. and it was still open to one of the passengers' baggage claim email. So yeah, these things happen. Yeah, pretty astounding all across the board, this entire story. So if you're going to be traveling, just as per usual, in the winter, you always want to double and triple check things anyway. But now there's just another reason. Imagine the mom and the boy, like the guy says, well, she held on to make sure he didn't go out with his shirt. Get back on that horse, kid. Fly again as soon as you can. You've beaten the odds. Nothing like that. Statistically, it's as close to impossible as anything could be. That statistically, speaking, it's as close to impossible as anything could be that something like that would ever happen again. So get back in the air before you get too freaked out. That's my advice.
That poor kid. He probably got a souvenir shirt from the trip, and he's crying.
His favorite shirt on. When you travel, when you're young, you get excited and wear your favorite clothes. Well, maybe someone will find it down there.
We all know at least one dude we grew up with who would be the guy who's like, the plane lands back at Portland. He's like, I'm not putting a shirt on. It's my badge of honor. I'll walk through that airport concourse. I'm the guy whose shirt was sucked off his body.
Yeah,
look at that.
I was going to be telling the story for the rest of his life.
Damn straight. He earned it. He earned the right to tell that story. Zepp, you mentioned, this is interesting to me. Yesterday is something called Dating Sunday, the single busiest day of the year for dating apps. I guess that's because you got through the holidays. It's time to get back to the real world, and it's the day before a lot of people go back to work, or at least full time. There's just something about that Sunday. 5-6 days into the year that makes it the most popular day for dating apps. And like you mentioned, Tinder, I've heard of the biggest ones. There's way more dating apps than I would have ever in a million years imagined possible.
Yeah, right, exactly. In fact, I had no idea. I've been out of the game for a little while now, and I just went on and I saw this list of dating apps and then just Googled it. It's 30, 40, 50. I mean, it's become very niche right now. It's all about finding that one person that likes the one thing that you really like. And maybe that works better because that's what a relationship is, finding that one commonality.
The niche used to be, I'll take a chance at meeting someone on an app. That's all the niche was. It was just that. And now it's gotten so specified. So I'm just curious. I mean, what let's go down. Okay, this first one. Okay, one thing I love about these apps is it's like one word and they remove a vowel just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
There's an app called Bristler. Bristler. BRISTLR. Like there's no LR. Bristler. Candace, do you know what Bristler is? Do you know what it's for?
But their logo is a guy with a beard on it, so I bet you it's about, is it only guys with beards?
Yes, bearded men. Bristler.
Bearded men for bearded men? Or
that's what I was going to say. You could, there's a lot. This is a literal beard. This is like the hair that you grow on your face beard. Right. So if you're into bearded men, there is an app for you called Bristler. I don't know. Just look around, see a guy with a beard, go say hi, introduce yourself.
It's winter. I mean, a lot of us are just, we're not shaving, letting it go. Bristle up, man. All right, Bristler.
Okay.
So it's a woman that just wants, all right, you know why she wants to date a man with a beard, right? So that she can then get him to shave his beard. She wants to change him. She wants to clean him up.
That's exactly right.
You need some good clean. You need a cleaning up. You need a clean shave, and I'm the woman to do it.
Well, then let's start an app called Babyface for the man who refuses to grow a beard, or for the man who can't grow a beard. Are you not man enough to grow a beard, but man enough to admit it?
Yeah,
maybe.
I am. This thing I've got on my face, it's just it's wispy.
Yeah,
I couldn't even really grow anything more than a soul patch until I was in my 40s. And it started to come in a little bit, but yeah, it's a fake beard.
I shaved yesterday. I did about 10 days and then shaved yesterday because I was just entering the that poor guy, what happened to him look that happens for a while. Like life got in the way of him, huh? It's one of those. I can grow a beard. It takes a while and it looks really good from 30 feet away. But the closer you get, it just turns into like tumbleweed. Here's an app called Sizzle, Sizzl. This is real. We're not making this up. Sizzle. It's for
steak lovers.
Close. Bacon lovers.
Oh, okay.
I'm on. I mean,
just go to IHOP and look around.
Right.
That, and I think you can probably assume that 98, who doesn't love bacon? You can go to any dating app. They should have a dating app for people who don't like. I hate bacon. I hate the smell of it. Then you're going to have to be very selective. There are very few people you'll be able to date. That's where you should get. All right, bacon. They're baiting us now. You know what?
Yeah, if it was vegan bacon, I could see an app for that. It would be VGN BCN vegan app.
Fake bakey.
Yeah.
And they're probably
fake bacon. That's good. Faking bacon, not making bacon.
You know what they're doing? They're just baiting dudes here, because here's what happens on dating apps. Candace jumps onto a dating app and puts up a profile and just says, "Hi, I'm Candace. Here's a cute picture, and I'm single." And then she gets 1,000 guys in 1 minute that are begging to date her.
Right.
Your average dude puts a profile on there, and 6 weeks later, he has 2 responses, and both of them are bots. So they're just trying to attract guys here so they can get to them with scams, online dating scams.
Well, let's put that to the test. I'm gonna log into Yapper. YAPPR. Yapper is for radio hosts. And,
God.
What? Come on.
We would never date a radio host.
Come on, the Yapper app we got to develop that. Come on, it's a great idea.
It's gold.
Well, actually, you know what? How about this? Let's do an app called DIDDLR, Diddler.
Oh, yeah.
We all like to diddle, right? No. I don't mean that. I mean, like, it's for drummers, like paradiddles. You know what I mean? Like the Diddler app.
Right.
That's not who you're going to attract. I'm just telling you right now.
You don't think so? Come on. What could possibly go wrong with an app called Diddler?
I don't know. I'm going to say a passionate murder. How about this one? Field. FEELD. Did I say that right? Field is for threesomes.
Field.
Threesomes.
Threesomes.
Oh, that's a real one. I thought you were making that up. That's real.
No. I don't understand the name. What am I missing? FEELD. Field for threesomes.
Feel more?
I mean, can you go on single? I mean, you don't have to be a couple looking for a third. Maybe it's just so now it's hard enough to get 2 people together. You're going to try and get 3 people together? Nuts.
So I'm curious. It's almost like do you already have your threesome and you're trying to meet another one, or you're just putting your name into the draft?
All right. Well, I'm looking at it. A dating app for the curious.
The curious.
Made for more meaningful connections.
Well, if you were curious in my house, that's why we had an encyclopedia set.
Well, now we have the internet.
Just saying. There's J-Date. That's for meeting Jewish people. That makes sense.
I've heard of that one, yeah. I had a coworker who was on that one for a while. I think he met someone. I don't know if they're still together. I haven't stayed in touch with him.
What about C-Date for celibate people? Let's do that. Let's see how that works.
C-Date. Again.
Remove the pressure.
Yeah, you're on a slippery slope. What if I said salad match? Where's your mind go if I say salad match?
I go back to salad. I go back to watching the HBO show Oz and being terrorized by salad matching happening behind bars. I don't want to know.
It's far more boring than that. It's literal. It's real. It's for people who like salad.
Greens.
Wow.
What are they, like 4 people on there? Who are you meeting on Salad Match?
I had a bad relationship. My wife didn't like salad. I just didn't know where to turn. And then I found Salad Match, and I felt maybe I can live again. Maybe I can love again. The world. Geez, how about this? Wingman. Wingman is a real app. I immediately think it's I don't know, for your friend who hangs out with you while you strike out hitting on girls at bars. It's so you can meet people, not pilots, very close. You meet people who want to join the Mile High Club.
Oh.
Okay, first things first. Okay, so you got to fly private if you don't want to get hurt. Okay, just remember that. When's the last time you walked into the bathroom on an airplane and thought, "Yeah, there's room in here for this"? I mean, seriously, like it's just not possible. I can't. I barely fit into an airplane bathroom myself. I'm 6'3". It's never easy just to do it. And I was sick on a plane about a month and a half ago. I had to run to the bathroom on a plane and throw up. It was horrifying. It was terrible. And it was so close to being a disaster for the rest of the people. It was almost the kind of thing where the bathroom would have been shut down. Like, that's what I'm saying. It was very difficult for me to get to a place where I threw up where I was supposed to. The idea of having another human in the airplane bathroom and doing anything other than apologizing for having to be so, I can't imagine it. The Mile High Club's just not for your average airline traveler. That's what I'm saying.
If you want to go specific for pilots, maybe you get on cockpit.
Okay, watch your mouth.
So you have like only farmers. Isn't that one too?
Oh, yeah, there's one for just farmers, yeah.
Those TV commercials run in the South nonstop, man, for farmer dating sites. Yeah, absolutely. Those are fantastic.
Wacky for masturbating comedians.
You mean comedians?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, who's going to hang out with a comedian? They get... Anyway,
psycho chicks.
Psycho chicks that date comedians.
I think there is one for that. It's called Match. That's
it.
Double checked. All right. Dating Sunday. We're moving along to back in the day. Our first history lesson of the year coming our way here at 9:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, January 8th. That song, Boston's Rock and Roll Band. It's a song all about being in a rock and roll band in a local scene and struggling and trying to work your way up and, the grind. And it was all nonsense because Tom Schultz, the guy who is Boston, the guy that wrote all the songs, the guy that produced the first album, he'd never done any of that. He was a Polaroid dude. He literally was an executive at Polaroid with a studio in his basement. And he knew a bunch of musicians, and he was like, do you guys have any stories about how hard it is to make it? And they were like, yeah. And they told him stories. Okay, because I got to write a song about that, but I don't know myself. I'm just saying, it's okay. It's okay, Tom. Your street cred ain't really worth much, but, you wrote a few good songs. You did okay.
They did okay. I mean, it's about cranking out the tune, right? Not living it.
That's exactly right. No, if you can write a song, well, I mean, last I checked, Robbie Robertson did not, in fact, serve in the Civil War. The night they drove Old Dixie down, pretty good damn song.
I mean, you told me about that, and of course, Levon Helm has over the years. They had a little bit of a running in, a little row with Robbie Robertson there,
a little bit,
and then in the late '70s and early '80s about publishing rights, and even you had mentioned you had a relationship with Levon Helm, and said that he's like, who do you think told him all those stories about the Civil War? And I'm thinking to myself, did you write a song about it? Okay, then.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a little tricky, I told him what happened, and then he went and turned it into a great song, and you could have thrown the guy a bone. I mean, I'm just saying, come on, Robbie, could have thrown him a bone. But you could also sit down, maybe, if you love storytelling, sometimes you write songs about people's stories. Sometimes you sit down and you write a movie about that. And it's a bizarre way to come around to the fact that I would be remiss if I did not mention that I saw a movie called American Fiction over the holiday break. And man, I cannot recommend anything more highly. It is spectacular about what it is to tell stories and what people expect from storytellers. And it's hilarious, and it's heartfelt, and it's beautiful. And it's my favorite movie in a really long time. So if just throwing it out there, American Fiction, ask for it by name.
It only got 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's all.
I really like to shoot for about 97. It was 97. Yeah. That was the audience score. It's not a documentary though.
Oh no! It's just a great and a first-time writer-director, a guy named Cord Jefferson. So I don't know anything about him except that he wrote and directed a hell of a movie. Anybody see any of the new films that were out?
Well, I saw Priscilla, but I watched it at home, and I accidentally bought it because it was $20 on Amazon Prime, and I was like, no way, I'm not doing that. I'll wait, and then I accidentally clicked it.
Oops.
Anyway, but it was
Priscilla.
faked.
Oh, the Sofia Coppola movie.
Yeah, it was.
How was
really
it?
Liked it. Yeah, I liked
about?
Well, I got in like a deep rabbit hole, and I also watched Elvis, which I hadn't seen yet. So I watched both of them in the same night, and then I was doing a bunch of research. And, yeah, it was interesting. I didn't know. I don't know much about Elvis, honestly, but all I know is my grandma and my mom got to see one of his last shows here, and my grandma was like obsessed with Elvis.
Wow. She was not alone in that. So I like any movie I've ever seen that Sofia Coppola made. I liked, so I'll probably enjoy it, whether I care about that story or not. She makes good movies.
Yeah, it was really beautifully shot, and the acting was great, and I really liked it.
Oh well, fair enough. All right, there you go. American Fiction and Priscilla. That's a couple of recommendations for you. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. If you want to, here's another recommendation. If you want, not necessarily to be smarter, but if you just want to sound smarter, if you just want people to think that guy knows what he's talking about, you can certainly improve your vocabulary. That's a big way towards doing it. And I have a quick list of tips for you if you're trying to enhance your vocabulary and come across as just a couple IQ points ahead of where you might normally be. Okay. Number one, this is the true thing. It says watch movies, especially adaptations of your favorite books. So I guess, go find a movie of, go find the classics. Go watch a movie of, go watch Dr. Zhivago or I don't know. Go watch Gone with the Wind. You'll come up with a couple of new words occasionally. Another tip says listen to the radio. How about that?
Wait. I'm sorry.
Who's getting smarter listening to us?
No. We were social media before social media came along. We've been dumbing down society for 50 years or more.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole point. I mean, come on, man. This says go to museums or new places. Anywhere that's going to expose you to new words.
Yeah, I think you're going about this the wrong way. Why do you want to raise expectations and then not deliver? Because you're just... didn't you talk about how to improve your vocabulary and sound smarter, but not be smarter? So I say talk dumber, but be smarter. Then once they get to know you, they're like, this guy sounds like an idiot, but he knows a couple of things.
I would love to get out to a museum, but I mean, honestly, these breakfast burritos are not going to eat themselves. I've got things I've got to do.
Bring it to the museum.
One last thing, and this is interesting, and I'll tell you why, because I was just talking about this very thing on Friday, generally speaking, but now specifically, the Consumer Electronics Show is a big thing in Vegas every year in January. It's exactly what it sounds like, Consumer Electronics Show. All the companies that have cool gadgets bring all their newest stuff out, and they have a giant gig in Vegas. I played an event there. I played my former band, the Black Rose. We played a gig at the Consumer Electronics Show once. One of the last gigs I ever played, it was 10 years ago right now, 2014. And so you see all kinds of gadgets and stuff. Kohler, the bathroom brand Kohler, has a new $2,000 toilet seat. $2,000 bidet toilet seat. Yeah. The Pure Wash E930. It retails for $21.49. This is not the full toilet. It's just the seat itself. Wow. Now it does come connects to Google Home or Alexa, so you can tell it what to do. It's got the various spritzers, if you will. It washes you off after you take care of business. This one also has a drying feature. Ooh. So without moving, you're sitting on the toilet. It washes you and dries you, so you get on with your day.
Maybe give you a little massagey in between there.
Let me tell you, in Japan on tour over the years, this is old hat over there. Stayed in a lot of hotels in Japan, and they all have these things. And there's nothing better in the world. There's nothing. I mean, I got into a car in Japan in 1992 that had GPS, and I thought that was amazing until I went to the bathroom. And then I went, no. Keep your GPS. Yeah. This is what life is supposed to be.
I think probably the peak of human civilization. We're at it right now. I mean, where do you go from here? Coincidentally, I was reading a story just this morning on the Huffington Post. You can track it down yourself. It was just released, I think, yesterday. There's Dr. Evan Goldstein on there tells us that we shouldn't be wiping at all. The preferred method of wiping is not to wipe. He said when you look at someone's anus, to the left and right are wrinkles. It's like an accordion. It opens and closes. And whether you go front to back or the back to front or the pinch method, we're actually creating problems down there. Hemorrhoids, weak anal muscles, this sort of thing. He says bidet is the way. So
wow.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say it's like an accordion in that it makes so much noise, and that certain people, I've played the Yellow Rose of Texas before. It sounded like at times. So I mean, you just never know.
There it is. That's me.
That's it. I was thinking about how glorious these bidet / blow dryer toilet seats are on Friday. Just fun fact. I had my time checkup. I had my colonoscopy Friday. I'm all good, guys. I got the clear. I got the good colon. But the day before, of course, you got to drink a gallon of Drano to flush you out. And all I kept thinking was, boy, if I had one of those heated blow-drying bidet toilets like in Japan, this would be a great day. So everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
Was that when you watched that movie that you were recommending so highly?
That's not. No, that's not when I watched that movie. No, I actually had to go to a theater to see it.
I
did not bring my bidet to the theater, Tony. Thank you.
It's only a matter of time until they have bidets at the theater, in those theater seats, I think.
50 years ago, someone predicted we'd all have our own phones one day. Maybe 50 years from now, we all have our own portable bidets. Just saying. You never know. 50 years from now, who cares? Let's look back. How about a history lesson?
Sports, music,
history.
Remember
where the past
remember that
comes alive.
It is January 8th, and on this day in the year 2000, not that long ago, but really it wasn't yesterday either. One of the more famous playoff moments in NFL history happened. A little something called the Music City Miracle. The Tennessee Titans beat the Buffalo Bills on a kickoff, just a bizarre play where a guy named Lorenzo Neal took a kickoff from the Buffalo Bills, ran to his right, handed the ball off to his teammate Frank Wycheck, and then Wycheck threw the ball across the field to Kevin Dyson. He caught that pass and ran it down untouched for a touchdown. The Music City Miracle. It's one of those bizarre plays where it looks completely like Wycheck threw the ball forward, but the refs didn't call it. And then every camera angle you look at, it either is or isn't a forward pass. I've still not Tennessee fans will tell you it was absolutely a lateral. I don't know. All I know is that the Titans actually won that game. And as a Titans fan, that's not why I'm mentioning it. It's just one of those, it's not quite the immaculate reception, but it's pretty damn close in terms of you got to be kidding me moments in the postseason.
Right, and the immaculate reception you talk about, as they've slowed it down over the years, obviously it did not ricochet off who was the hitmaster back then for
Tatum.
Paralyzed Tatum, yeah. But it probably did. There's always a little controversy in those old miracles, I think.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.